Hi, everyone. I am Tania Farran. Welcome back to another amazing Monday night. I hope you had a great weekend. If you are in the United States and you celebrated the 4th of July with your family and friends this weekend, I hope that you had a great long extended weekend. I'm coming off of a great weekend with my family, my mom and my kids and my brother. It was just a really, really wonderful time together. So I hope you are having a great Monday. And I'm excited to be back with another episode of Parent to Parent. Really delighted to bring experts in the field of parenting, education to you so that you have some amazing resources while you yourself are on your parenting journey. So while you are in the audience, if you want to, make a comment, we would love that. If you're able to tell us where you're from, we would love that. Ask any questions. We'll get those questions answered right away. So if you would do that, I would love that. I've got a little bit of housekeeping to share with you. I should have probably shared my screen before, but you know how these things happen, right? It's not that big of a deal. We'll get to it. But I wanted you to be aware of the Parent to Parent YouTube channel. So on here is where you can catch all of these live streams. So you would be able to see any of the lives that are upcoming or the lives that we are doing. This is the one we're doing tonight. So to subscribe to this channel costs you nothing. You can go to Parent Talks, and that is this channel here. And you'll hear some great information already from some experts in the field of parenting as well as in education. So subscribe to my channel, please. As well as you can go to my website, Creative Living Ideas. I'm the owner of Creative Living Ideas, and sign up for my newsletter, as well as learn a little bit more about my Parent to Parent project, which is a book club on my book, Raising the Well-Adjusted Child, A Parent's Manual. And so that is another site. So that is Creative Living Ideas. You can check out those two sites and learn more about it. I also, on my YouTube channel, I also have videos on reading sections and chapters of my book, so that you can learn a little bit more about what's inside the book and, get to, allow me to be part of your parenting journey, I should say. All right. Without further ado, I want to bring our guest up, David Professor McDuffie. Welcome to Parent to Parent. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, I'm excited to be here. And yes, I was that next person to subscribe onto the Parent to Parent YouTube.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited. I'm working to build that channel. Probably in May, I decided to kind of build out this brand of Parent to Parent and have loved it. So thank you so much for your support with that.
Parents need the support, man. We definitely need the support. So it doesn't take us a whole one child to get parenting sort of right, and then all the second, third, and fourth child, they're the ones that get the good parent. And the first child is like, oh snap, they were doing on the job training.
They're the practice, right? Is that what you're saying? They're the practice. Yeah. I love that. That's awesome.
I'm sorry. If you are one of those first children in your family, go ahead. I'm a first child. I'm a first child.
Exactly. So tell everybody, introduce yourself and tell them about you and share a little bit of background about you as an educator and a parent.
Well, first off, I am a disciple of Jesus Christ. And so everything that I've learned that's been beneficial for my life, in all honesty, has been because I have understood that I need to be taught by the one who teaches all and has all the wisdom. And so that's first and foremost. I started off into education by being a long-term Spanish middle school teacher. And that was just a flip of the switch. Everything that I had inside, I didn't realize I could express as a teacher, in all honesty. It gives you that ability to just be your genuine self. And as time went on, I went from long-term sub in one district to another county. And then people were letting me know, you need to get your standard teacher's license. And so that's what actually brought me over to Nevada, all the way from Baltimore, Maryland. over to Las Vegas, Nevada, because I never would have come over here otherwise. But actually, being in Las Vegas has been phenomenal because I just see so many parents that really want the best for their children. And in Las Vegas, particularly, there is a lot of transient families. So some coming in because of the Air Force Base, some coming
Mm.
in because, hey, we're going to try out something new and move our family. Some people, they're fleeing things. Like there's a whole mix of families. But what's constant, not off of the strip, I'm talking about the families all around the
Sure.
valley, is
Sure.
that those families want the best for their children. And even though I see a lot of split homes. I see a lot of single parent households. I see a lot of grandmas or uncles and aunties actually raising the child. There's love for that child to be the best that they can be. And there seems to be a disconnect between the parents and the teachers at time. And I'm here to share that there's a lot of heart-centered teachers that are in the field. Obviously, if you still have children that are in public schools, you probably know 5 or 15 of those heart-centered teachers because, I mean, how it is now, it's hard not to lead from your heart to stay in the game. And
Yeah.
so, yes, I'm going to give it from both sides as a parent and as a teacher. I've been teaching for now a whole decade. All right. My student loan forgiveness is almost signed, sealed, delivered. But the crazy thing about that is maybe it's not crazy, but like ironically, I would have still taught at those same schools, even if I didn't have to go into a particular segment. And I
Mhm.
didn't
Mhm.
really need to, but in my mind, I needed to. But I loved it. I loved it no matter
Nice.
what. I've been in public school teaching. I've been public charter teaching. I've taught at a Christian academy and also just a private school entity. And then as I grew, I built my family. I didn't build my family. I met this wonderful woman while I was doing a Zumba master class, and then on Cinco de Mayo we were just dancing, and one date turned into, you know what, that gut feeling where you're just like, yes, that's the one, and then it was kind of switched where it's just like, wait, maybe she's not the one, but I got confirmation. That's a whole nother episode, but I got confirmation that she was the one because she came on back and just different things have happened. And so, from a parent standpoint, um, I I understand that there's going to be certain people who are watching this that you are one parent holding it down, or you are one parent who is split off from the other, and y'all are sort of co-parenting in different households.
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't have that experience of being separated in different households, but there is a couple years where it was just like I had one way of parenting, my wife had another way of parenting, and we were like banging heads, and it's just like, oh my goodness, like I just want what's best for my son. She just wants what's best for her son. But we needed to come together and say, this is what we will do, which is best for him. You get
Love
me?
that.
So I
Love that.
understand
So
both
you
sides.
guys have 2 children? Two
I just
boys?
so I have one, and she already had a child, which is going to come into the conversation. She already had an 18-year-old by the time that I had met her, and so she had already gone through single child parenting,
Mhm.
and she was
Mhm.
doing it on her own. She got some help, but it was like, hey, I know how to be a parent. I already raised one, so it's
Mhm.
like she's coming with that experience, and then I'm coming in new. But it's like, hold on, I've been a teacher for about the most of the time that you've been parenting. So it's like we need to do a little give and take. And
Yeah.
so she has two, I just have one, and then in the future, 2027, I'm sure we're gonna have our girl or next boys, our twins coming up.
Nice. Nice. You got a plan. You got a long-term plan?
Yeah.
Nice. I love that. So I'm noticing you have a little subtle flex in the background there of, for me, actually.
Oh, for you?
I see
What?
that book back there.
Oh, oh. right here, raised.
Raising the
Raising
well-adjusted
the
child. How
well-adjusted
sweet of
child.
you to have that in the background. But chapter 2, I believe, is United Front, right? Learning how to be a united front with your
Exactly.
parenting partner.
Yeah.
So
It is
it's a
life.
real thing, right?
Yes,
It's a
yes,
real thing.
definitely.
It
And
really
I'll,
is.
to speak on that, when
Sure.
we as a couple, when we started to have united fronts on certain things, there's segments. And so,
Sure.
hey, you may have a united front on just what is it, hey, disciplining, when to spank, when to, how, what is going to be the formula that you have for behavior. You may just have it on that, and then other things. You may just have a united front on what to eat, or what time is it okay for him or her to wake up. Like, just make sure you take those, each of those segments as wins, okay?
Yeah.
Because you're not going to have a united front totally right away, but you can do one by one by one. If I'm talking to those parents who are in the mix right now, not for those who are aspiring parents, or it's right there in the oven, like right now is the time to get that all planned out. Okay. But for those who are just listening to this and you're like, oh, snap. Okay. Let's go ahead. Just start with one thing. As you start with that one thing, then it's like, all right, something else comes. But being united front, I'm going to go to it. Like, you have to have that gentleness in the conversation, because at times when you're not already united, you have resentment and bitterness that's in the past. And so any like single word can sort of trigger, like, I'm going to shut down this conversation. I'm not even listening to anything he or she says. So it's like, just focus on that one thing, be as gentle, calm as you can, because remember, it's not a personal thing, or at least you don't take it personally, because you can only control yourself. All right. You just got to focus on what's best for my child, what's best for our child.
Yeah, I have a really great example of that, which I did not write in my book, but my youngest daughter has epilepsy. And when she turned 16, she could not drive because she was still having episodes of active seizures every 6 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that. So I told my husband, what a cruddy birthday. We're going to get her a puppy. She's always wanted a puppy. She will be great with this dog. Yes, we will take some responsibility. She said, and he said, there is no way. I don't want another dog. We already have a dog. No. And so we had our meeting in the bedroom, and I said, you're going to just have to stand by me on this one, because I'm saying this is what we're doing. And he said, okay. Now, that doesn't always sound like a united front, but there's a give and a take, right? There's a bit of a tug. And he knew at
Well,
that point we were going to walk out as a united front, because I said, I'm not willing to give on this. And then I explained my side, and but we did not have this big conversation in front of our kids. We
yes.
discussed this, and when we came out, we were a united front. Now, have been other things in reverse, and I'll have to think of an example another time, but where he has come out and said, I'm not giving on this. And
Yes.
I'll say, okay, I'll concede, and we'll come out as a united front together. And that's really the premise of it. And so, yes, it's awesome to prepare and think of all those things, but things are going to come up too that you're going to have to figure, how am I going to manage this? This is something I really, truly hold important, and I think is something I need to stick with. So how are you going to support me? So I love that. So, okay. So you have a few kiddos that hanging around here and there in the family. So how do you, I was going to ask this other question, but I want to go to this question. How do you encourage the love of learning in your own kids? How do
The
you help
love.
encourage the love of learning? You're an educator. You love
Yeah.
learning more than likely, or it
Yeah.
comes naturally. How do you
It's
instill that?
it's about living life. By you as a parent showing that you are learning, you show your children that, oh wait, okay, I can learn this too. Dad, he seems like he's struggling with this, but he's continuing to push and try, and verbally saying, hey, oh my goodness, I can't get this. But the action is still seeing dad try to work out something. Okay.
Mhm.
Mom, she needs to work on this one part of her business. But then she's like, you know what? How could I figure this out? By them being able to see how you and your spouse work things out in real time, that is how they love. to learn because they see their parents loving to learn. Other than that, I would say more on the word side, more on the vocabulary, the mathematics. I would say it's a lot of repetition, and for the parent who may not be the most favorite parent, on some cases it's the dad, but sometimes it's mom. But for the dads out there who are just like, I'm trying to spend more time with you, just know by you being there, you're already doing the best thing. Okay. By being present and there, not just sitting in the same room. Okay. But you have to be present. You have to be attentive. Okay. What is she doing? Okay. Oh, is that what she's doing? Talking. Just that verbal communication, even if they're not talking back, they are receiving more and more vocabulary into their knowledge. And when you go ahead, for example, as you see, I'm in my son's room. Okay. His name is Jonah. And so that's why we had this. I did it because I want people to see I'm real. I'm a real father. All right. And so he's away because my wife is like, all right, we want to make sure you're professional. Don't okay.
I get it.
Yeah, he'll be in more and more of the videos and interviews. But right here, I have the alphabet that's on the wall. And so we had a routine in the morning before I left out to go out to work where it's just like, okay, let's go ahead. A, B, C, D. And we go all the way down to Z and we would back it up. Okay. And we would have the song. All right. And that waned a little. Okay. But the whole point is that there was that recognition. Okay, I know all of these alphabet letters. And he does now because we went over that routine. And it was only 5 minutes where we did that song. And then I am going to pull it up. there's this mat that we have.
Oh, yeah.
Alphabet. Now, I will let you know, even though I brought the idea and concept of it to go around the room, once my wife was united on the concept of learning more, she goes on Amazon. She's like, all right, let's find all the decorations and stuff. So this not only has the letters, but it also has the picture. It has the animal, so you can know that, or what if it's not an animal, it'll do something else. It also has numbers, okay?
Yeah.
Numbers up to 10. And then on the very inside, it has the days of the week. Okay. And so we have that basically around his room. So there's chances to make every 10 minutes, every hour, something that you can learn. Like you're just learning about life. If you're cooking, hey, what is this I'm taking out? Oh, this is bacon. I'm cooking bacon for you. Okay. We're about to heat it up. Just narrating. That's good for the youngers. All right, narrate your life, and that's how we do that. But with I would say when they're in elementary and then definitely teenage, when they're elementary, teach them how to do this. Hey, I had my son at the early parts of 5. He was taking out the trash with me. Hey, come on with me. Let's take out the trash. And then we talked to the garbage man, gave him some water, but allowing each day to have something where you're learning and incorporating those 5-minute, 10-minute routines. The last thing I will say, this is not it. This is a book that he just liked. So we went to the library and we got different books from the library. My son, he's on the spectrum. And so at times, right now, he's not verbally saying a bunch of words. Actually, he just grew, 2 months ago, where he's like repeating us finally. So he's at that stage where he will say picnic and he'll say picnic, like he will be repeating those words. Whereas before he would just be saying sounds or whatever, pulling us around. So just keep on with it because you love your son, you love your daughter. But every night, every morning, start off with reading, end off with reading. And that's how they appreciate it. Because when they see, okay, I can learn something from a book, I could have experiences just by laying down or just by sitting and reading, then it's going to be amazing because they're like, okay, I know I can do it with my parents, but I'm going to do it by myself. So he
Right.
has one of the books where it reads out for them. But yeah,
Nice.
this book, my bad. This book was actually one that was a library book, and we had to turn it back. But he loved it so much, so we ended up buying it on Amazon.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I'm seeing a couple of things that I think are really important to point out, right? You're talking about doing daily repetition with your kids, right? Going through the alphabet every day. I think that carpeted space is so cool and fun. My brain was just going with all kinds of fun things that you could ask your kiddos to do. Step on what day of the week it is, which day is blue, which day is yellow on here, again, go to the letter, spell out your name. Like there's so many different things that you could do with that fun little mat with kids each day, or even piling toys up on this letter and putting toys on this letter. I mean, there's so much you could do with that fun mat. And I agree. So, you're talking about your energy and your enthusiasm is instilling that love of learning for them, as well as they're spending quality time with their parent. And that's the number one most important thing. And as the kids get older, parents don't think that they necessarily need that time and attention when doing homework or assignments, but they want you to ask, tell me about what you're doing. Awesome. All right, we're gonna work on this assignment for science. Let's sit down and do it together. What do you have to do? Do we need anything? What supplies do we need? Oh, okay. We're going to get the baking soda, the vinegar out. We're going to do this. We're going to get a battery, whatever we need to do. We need a flashlight, and be a part of what they're learning and have them tell you, so parents that are watching, I know you know this, David, but when a child can explain to us what they're learning, they have completely digested the information when they can tell us exactly what they've learned. And so giving them that opportunity to tell us about what they're learning and being a part of it really is just amazing. Go ahead.
I'm gonna X out a thought. All right, not you, but X out a thought, because there are those parents who they say they're quality time with their children, but they're actually doing the assignment for them. So I'm going over to the educators. All right. As an educator, that is wonderful. You want to be engaged with your son or daughter, but you have to, in a sense, allow them to fail. You got me? You got to have them failing forward. And so by you challenging them, I know it's a little harder for the mothers than the fathers, but as you're allowing them to fail forward, you're like, hey, what is this? What is this concept? And yes, it'll be like, hey, I'm the mom, I'm the dad, I'm not supposed to be teaching this concept. The material, yes, is from the teacher. However, as a parent, you are the number one educator in their life, okay? And so by you just having that interest and letting them know that, oh, okay, well, this is what we have in class. This is the assignment that you have to share it with me, and I'm willing to help. But that is helping. That is not doing for you.
Well, and I think the hard part for some parents might be is when the child says the wrong answer and you want to give them the right answer, right? We've got to guide them to what the right answer might be, ask them to go back and look it up, ask them to go. I mean, you can guide them for it, but even if they write the wrong answer, it's okay, because the teacher needs to know, what do they not know? And that's what you mean by failing forward, right? In order for us to understand as educators how we can help grow them, we have to see where their weaknesses are or where the gaps in the learning is. And so, yeah.
If you have trouble with that, fathers, mothers, zip your lips and then just finger, okay? And just be like, are you sure about that answer? And maybe not even saying that, because that already insinuates, okay, I did something wrong. But it's just like, make sure you double check your work. And then
exactly.
And maybe you could just point, hey, in this line, it was there. But just by you being silent and you pointing to where the answer is, not like writing it down, but like I'm talking about more English language arts where you're having to read a text. They are seeing you annotate. They're seeing you look and browse through the lines, and they're like, oh, okay, my mom pointed when she kept showing me where the answer was. Maybe I should be doing that too. I'm going to go ahead and point. And when they put their finger on the text, they're going to be able to understand it and comprehend the text a little bit better. So
Yes.
yes, thank you
Awesome.
for all those supportive parents out there. We need
Yeah.
more of you. But yes, don't do your homework. Don't
Well,
do your
and
children's
and
homework.
the goal of this, because there's parents who want to be supportive, but they don't know how. They don't know what their role should be. And so this is a great opportunity. This channel itself is a great place for people to go and get little snippets. So I try to keep these to 30 minutes. I'm going to ask you 2 more questions. So the next question is going to be, um, um, how do you prioritize self-care and avoid burnout, juggling both roles of being an educator and being a parent? Because I know it was hard. You'd come home from teaching all day, then you came home to teach your kids and do everything else with your children. How do you avoid that burnout and prioritize self-care?
Well, go ahead, check out the podcast, and that'll be a quick go to the next question. I talk about work-life balance and mastery for especially Gen Alpha teachers, those teaching kinder all the way to 8th grade. The first thing I would say is self-love is knowing where your boundaries are, okay? If you want to have that balance, you need to have a cutoff time from school, okay? Because that school is going to keep running, but your family is not going to run correctly without you. And so you need to have actually not even a cutoff time, but more of a start time for your family. If your start time is going to be, 4:30 or 5 o'clock, you got to make sure you're early for that 5 o'clock start time with your family. Another thing is clear communication. If there's clear communication, even if you're late, even if certain things, you're communicating with with your partner, with your spouse. And so it makes things easier and less stressful because they already know, okay, this is happening. Okay, I can go ahead and help or do this before he comes home. Or having that communication allows everyone to be in a better headspace. But lastly, you just got to segment that time and have no distractions, whether it be in the morning, whether it be in the car, whether it be if it at night. You need to segment that time daily as an educator, as a parent, for just you. Okay. And then I believe in Jesus Christ, Lord and Savior of my life. And so I give him the first, almost an hour of my day, sometimes asleep or whatever, but I'm writing, I'm reading, I'm listening. And so making sure that you're giving yourself time and giving time for you yourself to meditate and for you to go ahead and get wisdom from above. And so that's what I would do for self-care.
I love that. Tell everybody about your podcast.
So I have, it was Last Teachers at School podcast flipped into Male Educator podcast because I speak more directly towards male educators, but it's for all teachers and even parents. But on Facebook, there's a group, Last Teachers at School. And so that's for you to get support, for you to be encouraged by other teachers sharing stories. And then also I go into the portion which is later this year, where we're going to get into not hustles, but side businesses that you can do, because every teacher is an effective teacher because they have more than one talent. And so there's no reason for your talent to be stifled by a salary. You can use those same skills outside of the school, outside of the classroom, and be making thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars while still being in the school, so that you'll be able to fulfill your mission and your passion by also fulfilling your your family's
Yeah.
passion and your family's goals. And a lot of the goals for the family, it's like, okay, we need you more at home, but then also we need some funds in order to travel to different places, in order to do different things. And so that's what we help out with on the podcast, work-life balance. And what's coming up in the fall are simple strategies for teachers going from primary to middle, primary, intermediate into middle school for the teachers, so you can have more of that work-life mastery.
Nice. So if you'll go in, David, after this event and you'll drop in your links into the comment section so people can find you on Facebook and find your podcast. I was fortunate enough. That's when we first met. I was on your podcast and I loved it. We had the best time. It was such fun. So we'll have to dig up that episode and drop it in the notes too. If you have that still, that would be great, or in the comment section. So last question that I have for you, if you could give one piece of advice to fellow parents navigating school, home, life, what would that one piece of advice be?
You're not alone. One piece of advice as you're navigating is just you're not alone. A lot of times as a parent, we think that we are, but even if everybody else, your family's cut you off and you are just there raising 2 kids, 3 kids on your own, there's people at the school that are willing to help. There's resources within your community that are available. We're in America, okay? I don't know about any other countries, okay, with that point, but I do know in certain countries, in developed countries, they do have public support. Like, you always have someone who is willing to give you advice, resources, food, shelter. You're not alone. And above all that, God above is watching you. He's there with you in the room. And so whenever you're feeling desperate, whenever you're feeling depressed, whenever you're feeling that it's too much, just know that he's just waiting for you to open up your mouth and say, God, I can't do it on my own anymore. What do you want me to do? Seek him, lean on his understanding, because then he'll give you that peace that you need. He'll give you that love and make it joyful inside so that you'll have more confidence to go over probably just to the next door neighbor and let them know what's going on. All right. But you're never alone. So don't act that way.
I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me today. Everyone, you can check out on LinkedIn the notes, connect with David, Professor McDuffie. I appreciate you being here, and we'll bring you back. You'll be back another time, and we'll be looking at some dates to get together. So thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Thanks for joining us. Bye, y'all.
Have a good one, guys.